So hoping to see the final bit of Unit 7 in the Moraine of Shiurim from the Menucha of surnames Angor and Simos Mandifiori. We learned at length, the table over here, discussed the two distinctions. On the one hand, on the other hand, lochla, how do you eat without picking? And the Braita said there are two distinctions. One is the issue of whether it's guarded and fenced in from others. The other is the need of doing b'shinui, need, requirement, option, right? These are all options we learned about. What is the shinui that we're talking about? Long machlokes you're showing, we spent liquid time on that, I think. Let's see what the poskim say. Aruch HaShulchan says like this: למדנו מזה, דפירות שביעית אסורים להיות משומרים תחת יד הבעלים, אלה יהיו במקום פתוח כהפקר, ומי שירצה ייטול. Okay? נמצא לפי מה שביארנו שלוש דעות. לרש"י, רמב"ם ורמב"ן מותרים לאכול הפירות המשומרים בשביעית. He says, what about בדיעבד? They were משומר. He says, Rashi, Rambam, and Rambam all say you're allowed. Why? Because Rambam says that there's no issue with Mishumar at all. You're not allowed to Shomer, but it has no bearing on Katsir at all. Rashi and Ramban say there's an Isur Katsir, but there's no, but what? Ramban says there's an Isur, Ramban says the Isur Katsir of Pirot Shmurim, but it only disqualifies them if you pick them while they're Shmurim, right? Make a difference. Nachon. You're right. Is it? Right, according to him, the Ramban. You're right. It is interesting. It's interesting. It doesn't point out that if you pick it while it's shamur, so it becomes a certain Rabbanan, right? I think it's explicit in the Ramban. I think it's hard to escape that. So that's strange. Rashi again. Rashi doesn't disqualify the fruit. Anyway. Right. The issue he's asking is, am I allowed to eat by someone who was shomer his pirot?
The question about on the Ramban.
Right. Yeah. Well, how did the Aruch HaShulchan put the Ramban with them? It's a good point. Remind me. La tosot v'amor asurim ba'achila legamrei. Omer mitoshan be'adayim pshita she'asur. L'chen mi sherutze lismoch al da'ar rishona ein mochin be'yado. So the point is, are you allowed to eat heter mechira? In that sense, right? He says, based on, in other words, if you don't hold by the heter mechira, are you allowed to eat the heter mechira? He says, I have Rashi and the Rambam. It's interesting, he says the Ramban as well. I do agree, that is very strange. Umela, you'd be allowed to eat the heter mechira, right? But Chazon Ish says like this. עבר הבעלים ולא הפקיר כרמו והחזיק בו כשאר שנים, נאסרו הפירות לכל אדם, אסור לאוכלם, אסור לתנן לבהמתו. אסור, Chazon Ish, you know? Asr, right? So if you're in mafkir, so everything becomes asr, right? Like Rabbeinu Tam, right? Like the Ramban, right? He says next one, Itulgin shel shvit af al gav shemetayvin otam b'shvit beisur meshomrim otam ein haporot ne'esarim. So metayvin otam b'shvit, fine, right? That's Beit Shammai. Chazon Ish doesn't go that far. Mishamrim otam ein haporot ne'esarim. How can that be? He said just before that, right? That there is a mitzvah. What about the bimto? You're saying that there's the difference in shinui and I meant use for mitzvah and use for animals. Manyan. Okay, it's an interesting distinction. Just looking at the koteret in the Chazon Ish, just looking at the subject line, the where is he taken from? Do you see a difference? What's the difference in two Chazon Ishes? It's in terms of the subject line there. No, I meant the where it's taken from. No, so you see Kafvav, so you see it says Kafav Seder Shvi'it. Why? Because Kafvav is more of a, Kafvav wasn't written originally as part of the Chazon Ish. It was written as a hand guide. Kavav is written as a hand guide. Right? It's more like, what to do tachlis. And then they added it. Chazon Ish wrote what to do during Shmita. So they added it as the last siman in the Chazon Ish on Shmita. They added another siman. Let's see Tzitz Eliezer. It's a fun Tzitz Eliezer. All right. Let's see Tzitz Eliezer. Like that, Aruch HaShulchan. So he says we need to see which is the last one. I see the time is short, so I'm gonna and your patience and Zeh is short as well. So I'll just say Baal Peh, Bigadol, whatever. I quote him at length here because it's just interesting. He goes through. He went to people and he asked them which was the earlier one, which is the later one. The important thing was that Chazon Ish said that Bemet Mikar Din they're fine. Mikar Din they're fine. Elamai that when it came to Tachlis, he wanted to say, let's just see these two lines over here. It came to Tachlis, he wanted to Machmir. You see where you see the last two lines in the fourth graph. הוסיף להסביר לי כי את סדר השביעית כתב בשנת תצ"ז והיה זה מעין קיצורי ופסקי הלכות בעד ההמון. ואז עוד לא היה כל כך פרוץ שיווק פירות משומרים וברור לו שכתב זה משום כנסה שלא משמר. So the truth that's the earlier one. But what's more important is that he realized that this is going to be a big problem if he doesn't say this. So what's interesting is the Ramban says that there's Isur Drabanan, right? The Ramban says Isur Drabanan. Now, Chazon Ish says the truth is there's no Isur Drabanan, there's Isur Chazon Ish, right? You see what I'm saying? He says, if I don't say that, right, what's he saying? If I don't say, right, exactly. If I don't say this will cause big problems. See, this agrees with the Ramban. This is Chazal never instituted such an Isur, but I will, right? So, I enjoyed that. Let's we just see the Minchat Yitzchak and Minchat Yitzchak and Reb Shlomo Zalman. תשע חזון איש שמח על המכירים משומר בשביעית, אמנם אנחנו פה עיר הקודש טיבנו תיקונן מחמירים מאוד, שכן פסקו הגאונים, כנודע, אבל בעבר הירדן דאב יתרי דרבנן, היינו לכל הפחות שביעית דרבנן זה דרבנן, ועבר הירדן דרבנן, ושעתך כמבואר פרק דברים, יש לסמוך על המתירים. So he says, you're allowed to סמך on the sfeika kind of thing. But the truth is, the minhag is, he says the minhag is to machmir like the Chazon Ish originally said. About what's right, how to do it. Says Shlomo Zalman, Maznei Eretz, on the page 9. I mentioned this a few times. And you see here, this right. He has a whole long discussion there about if you don't hold by Ter Mechira, can you still eat by someone who was doing Ter Mechira? So Shlomo Zalman said. ספיחים is another issue, you're right. ספיחים is another issue. נראה לענת שגם מחמירים שאינם רוצים לסמוך כלל יותר מחירה, מכל מקום לפי מה שנוהגים כהכרעת האחרונים להקל בזמן הזה באיסור משומר ונאבד, גם חזון איש כתב כן בדיעבד הנפרוד נאסרים, מותרים באכילה לאחרים, ממילא, אז לא נגדרים ספיחים, it's another issue, you could סומך on the יותר מחירה, I need the יותר מחירה. Right, Rabbi Yaakov Ariel also says the minhag is to make el, and with that we finish unit 7.